Does everybody have a, is this thing on?
It's not on. You can turn it on.
Hare Krishna? So does everybody have like a little device or something like that? So take the stuff off the table so it doesn't like interfere with the appearance. So when you're going through the verses, do people follow on their device? Is that how they do it, or what? Or do you have books? Huh?
We've had a combination of both the TV and following along in the books.
Okay, so can we put the first verse up and then quickly switch
Yeah, sure.
just for the chanting and translation, and then get back over to this? So what happened here? Like I thought, okay, she was asking me if I wanted to say something on my own. Will I do this verse? So I thought, yeah, sure, I'll do this verse, which I kind of knew what the verse was about, but I didn't realize it was like a fairly lengthy purport. And in reading the purport, I got inspired to take a little detour into Lord Chaitanya's beautiful 8 stanzas, which are mentioned in the purport. So we'll just read all. I'll recite the text, the actual verse in the Sanskrit here, and then everybody, we can say it to. Is it up there now?
It's yeah. It's. Is that the one you're looking for, or six?
Yeah, we just need that part. We don't need anything else. Just the actual text and the transliteration, and then switch back, because I'll be reading and then all of a sudden we're going to get the show here. Okay, so when we get to this one part, it won't be so passive, like, and just to make things kind of smooth, if you can pass it out. Somebody pass these out. And there will be the time that you don't have to read it now, but when we get to that part, I'll just okay, pull out your papers, and there will be an interactive participation that I hope you'll find to be catching up in body, mind, and spirit. As I said, don't worry about the paper now. I just want you to have it ready when it's time to roll into that. So, word by word in translation, Dadati gives charity. Pati Granati accepts in return. Guyam confidential topics. Akyati explains. Krichati inquires. Mukte eats. Bojayate feeds. Cha also. Ela certainly. Sat vidam 6 kinds. Priti of love. Lakshanam symptoms. Tadati priti ganati guyam. Dadati pratiganyati guyam.
Dadati pratigruhnati guhyam.
Akyati prishati.
Akyati prishati.
Akyati prishati.
Akyati prishati.
Bhukte bhojayate shaiva.
Bhukte bhojayate shaiva.
Bhukte bhojayate shaiva.
Bhukte bhojayate shaiva.
Sarvitam pritilakshanam.
Sarvidam pritilakshanam.
Sarvitam pritilakshanam.
Sarvidam pritilakshanam.
Tadati pratiganati guyam.
Dadati pratigruhnati guhyam.
Akyati prichyati.
Akyati prishati.
Bhukte bhojayate shaiva.
Bhukte bhojayate shaiva.
Sadvitam pritilakshanam.
Sarvidam pritilakshanam.
Now let's say all together. Okay. 1, 2, 3.
Dadati pratigruhnati guhyam.
Akyati
Akyati prishati.
Bhukte
Bhukte bhojayate shaiva. Sarvidam pritilakshanam.
One more.
Dadati pratigruhnati guhyam. Akyati prishati. Bhukte bhojayate shaiva. Sarvidam pritilakshanam.
The translation by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Offering gifts in charity, accepting charitable gifts, revealing one's mind in confidence, inquiring confidentially, accepting prasad, and offering prasad are the 6 symptoms of love shared by one devotee and another. Can you see the translation there? Is it there? Okay. So let's all together read that translation.
Offering gifts in charity, accepting charitable gifts, revealing one's mind in confidence, inquiring confidentially, accepting prasad and offering prasad are the 6 symptoms of love shared by one devotee and
another. Now before I start heading into that, I really like it when I think I'm totally prepared, ready to, and then wait, where did that go? Let's see. Well, we just have gone through a couple days ago that great, particularly American holiday called Thanksgiving. And there's a lot in here that actually relates to that, if that, meaning Thanksgiving, were actually something that was honestly observed as opposed to becoming a great commercial holiday. And then by honestly, your kids are taught something in school that they far cry from the reality, like, oh, those people, they sailed across the ocean blue, they landed in winter and it was freezing cold, and they couldn't even get off their boat and go to shore because it was so horrible. And then in the spring came some nice Indians showed up, and they showed them how to survive, which was actually true. That didn't happen, and then came it wasn't in November, December, or even October. It was a little earlier in the year, but they had a bountiful harvest. The nice Indians did show them how to manage in their new surroundings, and they taught them how to plant different indigenous things like corn and different types of things like squash, etc. Pumpkins, for example. And so then the person who was the governor at the time of the persons that come over, they were known as separatists because they were separating themselves from England. And actually, they didn't come directly first to America. They made a pit stop in Holland. And they were well received there. Everything was fine, but they were not really appreciating the Dutch way of life so much. So they wanted to get into their things. So then they took a collection up. They hired this boat and a crew. So about 2/3 of the people on the Mayflower were the crew members, and then 1/3 were the actual separatists, or what became known as pilgrims. So they lost most of the people on the first winter. They didn't survive. So then after that first attempt where the pilgrims were taught by the nice Indians how to, how to manage, how to grow things, the governor decided, let's come together, let's have some, a feast. And it wasn't considered a holiday, it was, just let's give some thanks, we've gone through a rough winter, not many people survived, and then, managed to get some crops that were grown by the use of these Indian people. So the fellow sent out 4 people to go fowling. Fowling is a term for birds. So in other words, bring back any bird you can. And even if they did have to bring back a wild turkey at that time, it's not like the horrible situation we're faced nowadays with these, factory-fed, genetically altered turkeys that can't fly at all. And we have wild turkeys in New Verdammen. We have one peacock which was unfaithful to her clan, mated with a wild turkey, and so it's a pea turkey. But these birds they're not going to be killed. They know that in New Verdammen. And the things that they're pushing off turkeys today are just another sign of the times, just like, a factory-made animal stuffed full of different types of chemicals to bulge them out. And, and then in the end, instead of remaining grateful and respectful and sharing the land that belonged to the people that was now being invaded by the settlers, they started killing the natives. So, the sweet little story told in school is not really so accurate. And now it's to the point that even Thanksgiving is not universally shared. It's also now being known as Indigenous People Day. I mean, for the people that were here and were displaced by the pilgrims, they're finally recognizing that. And for example, in many places, Columbus, who was known as one of the first persons to sail the ocean blue and come in, he's being vilified because of what happened in reality. So like in Columbus, Ohio, for example, just down the road, there was a big statue of Columbus, mighty Columbus. They took it down. They toppled it. And in many places that's going on. But the reality is that if one starts to connect their life with Krishna, whatever your ethnic origin, because we're not so like, it's like in one of the verses, like there's many names, so many names of God. So we're just advocating, please chant the holy names. We like Krishna's name, but chant the holy name. And one of the ways people can relate with one another is said in this verse. So in this verse, Rupa Goswami, in this verse, Rupa Goswami explains how to perform devotional activities in the association of other devotees. That's what's happening here today. So there's 6 kinds of activities. 1, giving in charity to devotees, so you can repeat, giving in charity to devotees.
Giving charity to devotees.
2, accepting from the devotees
Accepting from the devotees
whatever they may offer in return.
whatever they may offer in return.
Opening one's mind to the devotees.
Opening one's mind to the devotees.
4, inquiring from them
Inquiring from them
about confidential service to the Lord.
about confidential service.
5, this is one of the best ones, honoring prasad,
Honoring prasad
or spiritual food
or spiritual food
given by the devotees.
given by the devotees.
6, feeding the devotees with prasad.
Feeding the devotees with prasad.
Of course, nowadays, this has become somewhat challenged. How is that? Excuse me, is there sugar in that? Excuse me, is this vegan? Excuse me, it's like, well, I don't do wheat, well, I don't, even I have some issues with some things now due to heart. In other words, Krishna's prasad has become even attacked by different types of, whether sentimentalism or, they're not really understanding what the value and meaning of prasad is. So it becomes difficult even to have, to practice that one. I remember when we were doing legal gatherings, I'd make this gigantic, huge pot of halva. And in those days, the veganism thing hadn't kicked in. The big fear was like, ooh, the sugar fear. But on the back, I had all these ingredients that were being like donated. And on the bag of the sugar, it said pure and natural. So when people ask me, well, what did you use? I said, well, there's some cornmeal, there's some farina, and they weren't uptight about the dairy stuff yet, so I could tell them we have ghee that I made, which was a fact. I got tons of butter donated, and I make tons of ghee. And except toward the last, when we were out of that, and then we started using whatever we had, which was some kind of oil, to say, yeah, there's ghee, and there's pure and natural, because that's what the bag said. And so they were happy with that. Yeah, great, And then I would get these honey donated, not enough to, so I would always take one jar and just drizzle it on. And there's a little bit of honey, So there was, it was just explaining it in a way. And as soon as they ate it, they didn't care what was in there. It was Krishna Prasad, it's magical. And halva in particular, it's magical. So, honoring prasad, spiritual food given by devotees and feeding devotees with prasad. So, experienced devotee explains, I want that, because I'm going to have the picture that I want to have that up.
The video?
I want it to be ready to go.
Okay, yeah, it's
So,
ready.
and what I'm reading now, but they don't have to read that, they can hear me.
It's ready to go.
Okay, so, yes, in order to maintain our spirit of devotional service, we must accept the prasadam as the Lord's grace received through the pure devotees. And we should also invite pure devotees to our home and offer the prasad and be prepared to please them in all respect. This is called bhukte bhojate chaiva. So even in ordinary social activities, these 6 types of dealing between 2 loving friends are absolutely necessary. For example, when one businessman wishes to contact another businessman, he arranges a feast in a hotel or a restaurant, and over the feast openly expresses what he wishes to do. And then he inquires from his business friend how he should act. And sometimes presents are exchanged. And thus, whenever there is a dealing of priti or love in intimate dealings, these 6 activities are executed. In the previous verse, Sanatana Goswami advises that one should renounce worldly association and keep company with the devotees. Sangha Tyaga Sato Vritti. So the International Society for Krishna Consciousness has been established to facilitate 6 types of loving exchanges between devotees. This society was started single-handedly, but because people were coming forward and dealing with the give and take philosophy, the society is now expanding all over the world. We are glad that people are donating very liberally to the development of the society's activities. And people are also eagerly accepting whatever humble contribution we are giving them in the shape of books and magazines dealing strictly with the subject matter of Krishna consciousness. We sometimes hold Hare Krishna festivals and invite life members and friends to participate in the feasting of accepting prasad. Although most of our members come from higher realms of society, they nonetheless come and take whatever little prasad we are able to offer to them. Sometimes the members and supporters inquire very confidentially about the methods of performing devotional service, and we try to explain this. In this way, our Krishna Consciousness Society is successfully spreading all over the world, and the intelligentsia of countries is gradually appreciating our Krishna conscious activities. The life of the Krishna Consciousness Society is nourished by these 6 types of loving exchanges that go among members, and therefore the people must be given the chance to associate with devotees of this kind, because simply by reciprocating in the 6 ways mentioned above, ordinary men can revive his dormant Krishna consciousness. So we're coming shortly to the part that I will highlight. In the Bhagavad Gita, 62, it is stated, Sangat Sanjayate Kama, one's desires and ambitions develop according to the company one keeps. It is often said that a man is known by his company, and if an ordinary man associates with devotees, he will develop his dormant Krishna consciousness. The understanding of Krishna consciousness is innate in every living entity, and it is already developed to some extent when the living entity takes a human body. It is said in the Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya 22:107, Nitya Siddha Krishna Prem Sajya Kalunaya Shamanadi Sudha Chitte Karya Udaya. Pure love for Krishna is eternally established in the hearts of living entities. It's not something to be gained from another source. The heart is purified by hearing and chanting. The living entity naturally awakens. Since Krishna consciousness is inherent in every living entity, everyone should be given a chance to hear about Krishna. Simply by hearing and chanting Shravanam Kirtanam, one's heart is directly purified and one's original Krishna consciousness is immediately awakened. Krishna consciousness is not artificially imposed upon the heart. It is already there. When one chants the holy name of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the heart is cleansed of all mundane contamination. In his first stanza of his Sri Shastastika, Lord Chaitanya says, just one moment, but we're getting near to it. No, a moment. Yeah. So there's 8 stanzas left by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Of course, the most well-known one is Chaito Dar, if you know, you can say with me. Chaito Darpana Marjana Baba Mahadavagni Nirvapam Sharyakara Chandrita Vitaranam Vijavadu Divanam Ananda Divardanam Patipadam Purnam Haranam Sarvatmasnam Param Hidayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. most people are somewhat familiar, this all glories to the Sri Krishna Sankirtan, which cleanses the heart of the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life of repeated birth and death. The Sankirtan movement is a prime benediction for humanity at large because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss, and it enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious. So, you can take out your paper. It has the English on that. And we're going to have a very delightful exchange. So this is 2005, and it was at the installation of the Panchatattva in Mayapur. And I'm sure everybody has been into a kirtan. All of a sudden, you're not in whatever room or place. You're suddenly transported to another dimension because of the intensity of the purity of the chanting. So Dravida was his offering was the Shastastika, and he was doing it first in the Sanskrit and then in the English. So you have the English part, and let's see how far we can follow along with this. It's about 19 minutes, I think. It's the whole thing. And if you can just go along with it, and if you can chant the Sanskrit, which is really great, and if you can chant the English, which are really great, it's that way it becomes interactive, and maybe come closer so you can see it. And this is in Sridham Mayapur.
Anandam Buddhivardhanam Buddhipadambo Namitasvadanam Sarvatmaskaparam Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam Sarvatmaskaparam Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. All glories to the chanting of Shri Krishna's holy name, which easily extinguishes samsara's blazing flame by polishing the lust encrusted mirror of the heart. That chanting is the waxing moon that knows the secret art of causing the white lotus of the fortune to unfurl its petals far and wide throughout this bleak and blighted world of transcendental knowledge which will take us to life's goal. The chanting of the name of Krishna is the life and soul. Wherever Krishna's name is chanted, the ocean of ecstatic bliss floods far beyond its bounds. Wherever Krishna's merciful and mystic name resounds. Indeed, whenever Krishna's names are sung in congregation, at every step one tastes the joy that knows no limitation. So hear with great attention as I earnestly exclaim, please build your consciousness by chanting Krishna's holy name. By transcendental potency, that name will surely bless you with your love for Krishna and the end of all the stress. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Ram Nam Kaji Bahudandit Sarvati Tatra Pita Niyamakit Smadane Kalo Etadrishi Tabakipavaga Mamapi Gurdaivam Midrasham Mihananina Varaga Tito Darpam Marjanam Baba Mahadavagni Vapanam Sriyakai Devatan Vikatadanam Vinyavadhu Jivanam Anandam Vardhanam Kodikadam Purnamita Sadanam Sarvataparam Varam Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam Sarvataparam Varam Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam Hare Krishna, Govinda, and Kesava too. Your names have no end, and in each of them you have invested your potencies, leaving none out. Whenever we want, we can chant them without the slightest restriction of time or of place. Oh Lord, who can fathom your infinite grace? But I am so wretched, devoid of all shame, that I haven't developed a taste for your name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram. Vinada Vishuni Chena Karodi Vasa Vishnuna Amanena Manadena Pitani Aksala Hari Vinada Vishuni Chena Karodi Vasa Vishnuna Amanena Manadena Pitani Aksala more humble than a blade of grass, as tolerant as a tree. To think all praise belongs to us, none belongs to me. Such qualities attract the Lord to bless one with the power to chant His name incessantly until the final hour. To chant His name incessantly until the final hour. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Hare Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Ram. Manjanam Bhavamahadavagni Nivapanam Shayakkai Devatundika Bhavanam Vinjavadu Jivanam Anandam Vadivardhanam Vadivadam Purnamita Swadanam Savatmastavam Varam Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam Savatmastavam Varam Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Om, Hare Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Nadananda Sundarin Kavitan Vadagadisha Kamaye Nam Janmani Janmishwade Bhavadan Bhakti Rahoy Tukitve Nadananda Sundarin Kavitan Vadagadisha Kamaye Nam Janmani Janmishwade Bhavadan Bhakti Rahoy Tukitve. Hey, welcome, women, followers, the fruits of mundane piety, liberation from this world of limitless anxiety. For me, your Lord, He's come and goes, and not the slightest worth. Let me serve you purely now and in each future birth. Let me serve you purely now and in each future birth. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, 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 Hare Hare. Hare Hare Bol. Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Sikotapanamajanam Bhavamahadavagninivapanam Shayakairavakandikavatadanam Vidhavadudivanam Anandam Vidivardhanam Vidivadam Purnamitam Swabdanam Savatmastavaram Varam Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam Savatmastavaram Varam Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Om Om Om. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Nandanu Kinkadam Patitam Mamishame Babangulo, Tipayata Papa, just at the Duli, Satusam Jintaya. Nandanu Kinkadam Patitam Mamishame Babangulo, Tipayata Papa, just at the Duli, Satusam Jintaya. Your servant for eternity, I lost my true identity and fell into this horrid sea of birth and death, O Lord. O London's Son, please hear my plea. By your sweet grace, consider me a speck of dust upon your lotus feet forevermore. Speck of dust upon your lotus feet forevermore. A speck of dust upon your lotus feet forevermore. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Sikotapanamajanam Bhavamahadavagninivapanam Shayakairavachandikatadanam Vindhavadujivanam Anandam Vidivardhanam Vidivadam Purnamita Svadanam Savatmastaparam Varam Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam Savatmastaparam Varam Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Nayanangaladasudharaya Padanangangavarundhaya Gira Lakanichitam Kabukatadhavanama Dahane Vishya Nayanangaladasudharaya Padanangavaraya Gira Lakanichitam Kabukatadhavanama Dahane Vishya. And tears streaming from my eyes, my voice choked with bliss. The hair upon my body standing up in happiness. When will all signs of rapture decorate my limbs? As I chant your holy name, the monarch of all hymns. As I chant your holy name, the monarch of all hymns. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Darpanamarjanam Bhavamahada Bhagini Vapanam Kaidapachandrika Padadanam Vindavadujinam Ahanandam Vadivardhanam Vadipadam Gunamita Svadanam Sarvatmastaparam Vadam Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam Sarvatmastaparam Varam Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Yugaitam Himeshena Chakshusha Prabhashayidam Sunyahitam Jagatsavam Govinda Viradename Yugaitam Himeshena Chakshusha Prabhashayidam Sunyahitam Jagatsavam Govinda Viradename. Every moment drags on like a million years or more. From the rain of my eyes, the tears in torrents flow. This whole creation's nothing but a vast and joyless void. Oh, Govinda, by your absence I am being destroyed. Oh, Govinda, by your absence I am being destroyed. Oh, Govinda, by your absence I am being destroyed. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Shayakkaidapachandrika Vadadalam Vindhavadutimanam Anandam Vadivardhanam Vadipadam Gurnamita Svadanam Savatnastaparam Varam Vidayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam Savatnastaparam Varam Vidayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Aslishyavaparvatam panashtumam darshanamam dhotiva yathatadava dadhatu lampato madprananata sahedana paro. Let Madhava embrace the maid who's fallen at his feet. Oh, let him trample me, or my most ardent hopes defeat, by never giving a chance to see him anywhere, thus shattering my heart and plunging me into despair. You see, he is a reckless libertine and not a saint, so let him act in any way he likes without restraint. Yet though his cruel and crooked ways may cause me constant woe, Krishna is the only Lord my heart shall ever know. Hey, Krishna is the only Lord my heart shall ever know. Krishna is the only Lord my heart shall ever know. Krishna is the only Lord my heart shall ever know. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Om, Om, Om. Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Om Namo Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo. Om Namo Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo.
So that was a particularly thrilling moment. It was, and there was, they expected a few people, and they weren't wrong. It's just that it was a few thousand more than they expected. It was, you can say, one of those truly ecstatic moments. So not only is the chanter of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra purified, but the heart of anyone who happens to hear the transcendental vibration, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
even the souls that are embodied in lower animals and insects, trees, and other species of life also become purified and prepared to become fully Krishna conscious simply by hearing the transcendental vibration. And this was explained by Thakur Haridas when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu inquired to him, how many entities lower than human beings can be delivered from material bondage? So you can keep the papers if you want. Yeah, you can have them. Haridas Thakur said that the chanting of the holy name is so powerful that even if one chants in the remotest parts of the jungle, the trees and animals will advance in Krishna consciousness simply by hearing the vibration. So now we have jungles that don't even have trees, and everybody's there is an animal. We're talking about concrete jungles, the cities. But this was actually proved by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu when he passed through the forest of Jharkhand. And at that time, the tigers, snakes, the deer, and all other animals, they abandoned their natural animosity. And they began chanting and dancing in Sankirtan. And of course, we can't really imitate the activities of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but we should follow in his footsteps. We're not powerful enough to enchant the lower animals such as tigers, snakes, cats, dogs, or entice them to dance. But by chanting the holy names of the Lord, we can actually convert many people throughout the world to Krishna consciousness. We can or distributing the holy name of the Lord is a sublime example of contributing or giving charity, the Dadati principle. And by the same token, one must also follow Prati Ganati principle and be willing and ready to receive. So one is the giving, one is the receiving. And one should inquire about the Krishna consciousness movement and open his mind in order to understand the situation in the material world. And thus Guyan, Akyati, Prasakti principles can be served. Members of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness invite members and supporters to dine with them when they hold love feasts in all their branches on Sunday. Many interested people come to honor Prasad, and whenever possible, they invite members of the society to their homes and feed them sumptuously with Prasad. And whenever possible, they invite members of, in this way, both the members of society and the general public are benefited. People should give up the company of so-called yogis, gyanis, karmis, or philanthropists, because their association can't benefit anyone. If one really wants to attain the goal of human life, he should associate with devotees of the Krishna consciousness movement, because it is the only movement that teaches how to develop love of God. So, if one is reading these and hearing these purports, one should be thinking of the actual onus that is being put on us. It's just not, a once a week entertainment. Actually, there's a responsibility. There's a giving and the taking. So, when Prabhupada said if one really wants to attain the goal of human life, he should associate with devotees of the Krishna consciousness movement, that means we have to be prepared to both give and take. To give Krishna consciousness and take people who are not actually getting real information about the goal of life. Everybody has a little goal, a mini goal. Let's say you're going to college and you're getting your bachelor's or your master's or your PhD. So that's a mini goal. It may seem like a massive goal at the moment, but it's a mini goal. Because so many masters, PhDs, and they're out there, they're rolling along. And then you get that little piece of paper with the stamp, and all of a sudden everything you learned is now being upended by the next wave of technology or the next new government. So there is a goal that doesn't change, that one you grasp firmly to. And no matter what else is going on out there, no matter what flood, the flood of water, the flood of your mind, that goal, whereby one actually understands, I'm not this body. This body is not me. I'm a spirit soul. But that's not the end. I'm the spirit soul. I have a relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And each and every member of human society has that same opportunity. But unbeknownst to them, and therefore we are given a privilege. It's a privilege to serve society by giving them Krishna consciousness and giving them Prasad. It's sometimes you may think, oh my God, I've got to do this, I got to, it's Harinam, and I got to get out there, I got to make this Prasad. It's actually a great privilege that we are able to invite people and share with them this knowledge that we have received by Srila Prabhupada. And sometimes people say, but people don't know about Gaur Nitai, or people don't know that. That's right, they don't. That's exactly why we need to be open-hearted, to go out and distribute this beautiful, pure knowledge of love of God. Chaita Darpana Marjanam, Bhava Mahadavagni Nivanam, Sarvatma Snapparam, Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtan. Glories to Sri Krishna Sankirtan. So we should feel some feeling about this. And we should feel happy that we have something we can give. And we should want to try to give something, as much or as little as we can. So right now there is the distribution effort going out, like these books of knowledge, these transcendental time bombs. You don't know when they're going off. Somebody takes a book, throws it on in their house, throws them at your kid, here, this is for you. And then sometime down the line, it can be even decades, person is feeling like despaired. Oh yeah, what was that book? Let me look in that book. And bam, that ticking time bomb goes off. Here's Bhagavad Gita as it is. And this is what I've been needing to know. It's been sitting on my shelf the whole, like, because it happens. You hear these stories. Can they take seriously your membership? The membership in ISKCON is open. You just have to, yeah, I want to be a member of ISKCON. There's no form to sign. There's no, signature required. But your acceptance of Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or even you don't even fully know for sure yet, but you like hearing about Krishna. Come on, join. Here's some more. As you hear more, then you become more convinced. Sometimes you might be given a new preparation of prasada, and you're looking at it and you're not sure yet if you want it, like your mind is like evaluating. So you take a little taste, then you take a little more, and then you just can't stop taking it because that's what happens. Same way in hearing about Krishna. It is just like so extraordinary. And some people may think, how? This can't be. This is just too far out. Well, if it wasn't far out, it wouldn't be God. In other words, if he was just like us, what would be the point of being God? And God is saying, yeah, I am far out, and you can be far out too. Come on. From Jayate Sri Krishna Sankirtan. The conclusion is we should always keep company with devotees, observe the regulated devotional principles, follow in the footsteps of the acharyas, the great teachers, and in full obedience carry out the orders of the spiritual master who's simply passing on what he has learned. He's not sitting there in the back room making up something new to entertain you. This is not, it's not the goal of life to be entertained. The goal of life is to serve Krishna. But he is the greatest entertainer, and you can be fully captivated by him. And in this way, we can develop our devotional service and dormant Krishna consciousness. So the Prabhupada was explaining, devotee who is neither a neophyte nor a Bhagavat. So we've got these three levels. We've got the neophyte, means the beginning. There's, Yasam Prediction. And then there's in the middle status, and then there's the Mahabhagavat, greatly advanced devotee. But within the middle status, devotional service, there's a feeling of affection, of love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You make friends with devotees, and you show favor to the ignorant, and you reject the jealous and demoniac. In the 8 offenses to chanting, says, don't explain the glories to the person, to everyone, ones who aren't interested. Why? Because those persons don't want to know, and then they become blasphemous, which doesn't help them, and it doesn't help you. So for those people who are just rejecting, okay, no problem, try to give them a little prasad. Sometimes they'll come out and like nowadays, like I say, it's like, well, is there sugar? Is it this? Is it organic? Is it what? A bowl of ice with chopsticks covers all the bases. It talks about how an advanced devotee is supposed to spend at least 50% of his income on the service of the Lord and devotees. So I know nowadays it's like a very difficult thing to understand. How can that be? People. And the reality is, if we take it at face value, probably wouldn't be able to do that. Sanatana Goswami, who did institute that, was fabulously wealthy. So take 50% of his income, and he was an enunciate. It wasn't so difficult. Let's understand the principle. We should give something. And just give something. Maybe you come and you'll bring some flowers for Krishna. You might bring some fruits for Krishna. Give something to Krishna. With the consciousness, I'm sure. And like we have this beautiful little place for who knows how long, but it's not a freebie. There has to be, what is it, 150 per use? So, give something, help, so we can keep going. Cleveland has always been a scrappy gathering. We get one place, we're doing good, and all of a sudden it's gone, and they'll get another. It's just been, the way that's been. Ron and Merle Dart even got kicked out of Cleveland. I mean, but still, the devotees, they hang together, they come together. So, kind of please help the devotees here throw in so we can come up with that 150 so that we have our little place to come together and experience the 6 loving exchanges, and particularly the Sri Krishna Sankirtan, chanting of the holy name. Anyway, I've always said this Hare Krishna movement is preaching and teaching. And I got initiated. It was like a couple days after I met you, Prabhupada. And then after the initiation, so I want you, verse 4, I want you to go out and preach. We barely had the mantra down. We were still looking at a little card with the mantra so we get the words in order. I want you to go out and preach. So I like my first question, how do we do that? And the answer was, you just listen to what I'm telling you, and then you repeat. And you're right. Don't add, don't subtract, don't make anything up. Just repeat what you've heard. Read the Bhagavad Gita, we didn't even have that yet. We didn't have the first volume of the Bhagavatam. So read something and share it. But it has to be consistent. Just like if we associate with devotees minimally, we'll get some benefit. But if we want to get maximum benefit, we should have regular association with devotees. In the same way, regular reading the Bhagavatam, regularly reading the Gita. And this fortifies one, it gives you the strength to go on, and it also helps you, clear the dust that's in the heart, which means it becomes easier for you to understand the lessons that are being imparted. I'm not sure of the timing, but it's just almost full, so I probably break it here. And if anybody has any points to make, I hope you enjoyed this presentation, just because, I don't know, I find it very enthusiastic. You just can't help but want to jump into chant. And of course, the Shastastikam is all based upon how one should be chanting. How to chant, there is nothing else besides Krishna's holy name. And to be able to kind of have that interaction is beneficial to our own development, to our own becoming further attracted, further convinced.
Any questions or comments? Well, I feel uncomfortable saying this, but we have three processes: chanting, dancing, and taking prasadam. We have the three processes: chanting, dancing, and taking prasadam. And I feel like I was dancing in my chair. And so I'm just saying that I'm missing that. We should be doing that too. We should get up, and even if we took 5 minutes to chant Hare Krishna and stand up and move a bit before we honor Prasadam. It's just my humble
So
request.
there's something else I want to mention here. Yeah, I think most of you know that I had recently had the honor of serving Parvati and Lilaswaranam by taking their son's ashes to India and offering them to the Yamuna first in a more elaborate ceremony, and then a second ceremony at the Ganges. And I have some prasad here that was especially for that, which I'll give to Parvati. She can give a little out, and Leela's Martin's here, so. But this is at the Yamuna ceremony. So this was, prasad was made at request, and I requested something that would last because I was going to be like sometime before I got back here. So you can pass, not right now, but during the prasadam, you can like pass out. Yeah. Okay, so does somebody want to just give a lively 5-minute kirtan? Everybody on your feet and are you going?
Om.